So this is Tyson Bannigan, the Energy Detective. That's one of my nicknames. I'm also the Illuminator, bringing you and humanity into the light. I'm also the host of the Wellness Show, and from that perspective, I'm really excited for this special show with Alison Heath around what are superfoods anyway. So this is something we've been talking about and brainstorming about and just getting really up to date about this. So I'm excited to have Alison on this special show and have this in the form of a webinar so you can learn what all this is all about. So Alison, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Tyson. I really appreciate it. And for all of you joining us, I'm just going to do a share screen right now and look at one of the reasons Tyson put out there. Okay, superfoods enhance your immune system. So if you want better health, and also if you want to assist others, make money, and change the world, PM me. And the interesting thing about that, once you start feeling better and you start putting superfoods into your body, what happens is that your brain starts forming new synapses. And oftentimes when people have depression or extreme stress and so on, their synapses aren't firing properly. It's like the little bridge between the two poles, the transmitter poles in the brain aren't working well. And this superfoods kind of overlays it like a bridge. And so then all of a sudden your brain starts working. Well, it happens throughout your whole body. So on a cellular level, you start waking up. Each cell has its own intelligence. And what it does is it starts expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding your consciousness. And it feels so good. Really, you feel nothing in your body in terms of aches and pains and all of the different symptoms that you may have been dealing with. You don't feel that, but you feel alive. Vibrantly alive and in homeostasis, exactly the way that nature intended for you. And really, what I found is that it's the best buzz of all. There is no other recreational drug or alcohol or anything that can compare to that feeling of being vibrantly, optimally healthy. And this is something that we want to look at. So when we consider it, what is a superfood? You know, this is what we're asking on this. And we're going to dive deep into some of the superfoods. So a superfood is a whole food. And it's a powerhouse of concentrated micronutrients for comparatively few calories. So it's just like packed. It's chock-a-block full of everything that your body could possibly want or need in order to thrive. And why would we want to bother with superfoods? Why would we want to take supplements? And it's funny because one of my mentors is a doctor, and he used to tell his patients, stop taking supplements. For crying out loud, you're just making expensive pee. And the fact of the matter is that his wife became very ill. She had fibromyalgia, and she had chronic fatigue, and she had a bunch of different other symptoms. And he and his band of physicians with their drugs, because he said, you know, you don't need supplements, we've got drugs for it. Those drugs couldn't help her. And she discovered, somebody introduced her to some superfoods and some supplements. She started using the supplements and she recovered. She had to ask his permission first because she knew how he was absolutely dead set against supplements. And he said, well, you know what, honey? We haven't been able to do anything for you. Why don't you? Why don't you try it? What do you got to lose? So she tried it. She recovered. And it's important too, as a caveat right now that I express this, we cannot say that superfoods heal, treat, or cure anything. But the proof is in the pudding. You put it in your own body. And this is age-old wisdom. Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. So we really do want to know why we want to add superfoods into our body. Well, if you took a bowl of spinach from 1940 to get that same nutritional value from that bowl of spinach, you'd have to take 85 bowls today. We have depleted our soil. So our soil just doesn't have the nutrients in it that our bodies require. Now, if you've got empty soil, how are you going to get nutritious food? It's not easy to do. So that's why we want to get into superfoods. Now, just between you and me and the fence post, I don't consider myself to be an expert. We're all on this journey, learning together. But it's been 31 years that I have been a self-described superfood junkie. I've been working as the longevity rescuer because I turned my own health around. I had an accident in the West Indies where I was run over by a motorcycle and both the bones broke out, went onto the pavement, and I had 4 infections of the marrow of the bone, so it wouldn't grow together. And I discovered superfoods. Well, after about 6 months, because it's not a drug, it's a food. So we need patience because it takes time for those superfoods to go into your body, to start cleansing and pulling out the toxins, and then to start restoring your body so that you can flourish and you can have that homeostasis and you can have that optimal health where you just hop out of bed without an alarm clock. You don't feel that anxiety. You don't feel that black cloud coming down over you. You just feel fabulous. Well, after 6 months, the calcium started forming in my leg and the doctors couldn't believe it. They said like, oh my God, they thought they were going to have to amputate my leg. And it didn't happen. I have full use of my leg, no pins, no metal bars, nothing. And it was really, truly incredible. And that was the beginning of my journey. And I remember the first time I put superfoods into my body, I had gone back to university because I couldn't work. I had 17 operations in 2 years. So as I'm driving down the hill, I'm coming down, the hill's like this, and there's a valley going up on the other side where the university that I was attending was. And the clouds parted and the sun poured through. I like to call it like a Jesus sky or a religious sky or something. You know what I mean, when those rays of sun come down. And I just thought, wow, if I could put this in the water of the world, I could end all war. And at that time, that was in 1987, and I was 30 years old. Now I'm 61. And my journey in the past 31 years has been phenomenal. There have been so many accidents. I call myself like the peril of Pauline or little inky dinky spider and stuff like that. But when I was in my 20s, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and I had to take lithium. I would go manic and I would just be superwoman and I could do everything I wanted and parts of my brain were working that other people's brains never even tapped into. And society wouldn't allow it. And it was really hard on my body too, because I would go 10 days without sleeping or eating. And then of course crash. But the superfoods, without my even realizing it, started to regulate that. So I go for my blood tests every 3 months, and the lithium had robbed the thyroid function. So then I needed to take Synthroid because I was hypothyroid. And I was so hypothyroid that I just ballooned up in weight and I was climbing up the stairs to my bedroom. I couldn't even walk up the stairs. I was still going to work and I was working in a homeopathic clinic designing a computer system for them. One of the doctors who was my partner in my software development business looked at me and he said, swallow. And I went like that and there was a big lump in my throat. And he said, you need to get tested. I think you're hypothyroid. And I hadn't even told him about how tired I was when I got home. So then I was on Synthroid and I was on lithium for life. Well, each of those blood tests, once I started adding superfoods, they went lower and lower and lower. And in the year 2000, my doctor said to me, you don't need to have Synthroid anymore. I went, huh? I thought, like, hypothyroidism can't be cured. It's a lifetime thing. And he said something very telling. He said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. He didn't want to know because it went against everything that he had learned. Just like that other doctor who was telling everybody, don't use supplements, you'll just get expensive pee. And it was really fascinating to me because a few months later, he said, you know what, you don't need Synthroid. You don't need lithium. And I said, really? And I've got to tell you, I felt elated because I didn't like taking pills every day, but I also felt scared skinny. And I said, listen, would you test my blood every day? He said, we can't do that. If you're not taking lithium, we can't test for it, but I can do a visual. I can see your speech pattern and all that type of stuff. Well, it turns out I went to see him every month and he said, are you exercising? I said, yeah, I do yoga 3 times a week. I said, I don't always make it. And he said, Alison, you're wasting my time. Stop coming here. He said, you are so not manic. He said, I asked a gal who was manic and she said, I said, are you exercising? And she said, yeah, I just bicycled from from Toronto to Winnipeg and back. He said, that's manic. So that would be equivalent of New York to Carmel, California and back. So he said, you're fine. Go away. That was in the year 2000. I have not had any medication since, but I've had lots of superfoods. And during this discovery that we're all going to do together, during this discovery, I've realized that just taking a superfood by itself isn't necessarily the most potent and effective way to take it. It's when you get combinations that go together that are really phenomenal. So there's one particular, well, there's so many. I don't even know where to start, Tyson. But there's a superfood drink called Elite that I discovered recently. Now, I had become sensitive to Wi-Fi after using and designing software systems for years, running companies and designing software systems. I moved to a place where my only phone was my cell phone, and I had wireless. It was a brand new condo, and I loved it because this condo was separated from the other condos by an electrical storage room. And I thought, oh my gosh, fantastic. There's so much privacy. But there was so much dirty electricity going through the walls, and there was so much electromagnetic radiation because everybody else had Wi-Fi in all the condos around me. And I became very, very ill. So I had ringing in my ears. I had headaches. I had tachycardia where my heart would race. I would wake up in the night thinking it was a thunderstorm, and it would be my pulse here and here just banging and crashing. I couldn't remember anything. After years of designing computer software, I couldn't remember how to use email or what any of my passwords were. I thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack. And I went and I looked in the mirror because I had to go pee about 20 times a night. And lo and behold, my face was decaying in front of my eyes. I was having rapid aging syndrome, which is part of EHS, electromagnetic hypersensitivity. And so I discovered some skin technology, which is also available to you. And this skin technology literally turned back the clock on aging. I had a terrible accident. I fractured my jaw. I dislocated it. I knocked out 3 molars. I still have 1 missing. I call it my bag lady look. And I split my forehead open, split my lip open and everything. And I don't have any scarring. It was like I had a big eraser by using this skin technology. And the company covered skin. So then they introduced this superfood drink. So what I want to do is I want to scoot over and I want to show you, open up a little page. It's a private page that I put together about this because it is superfood combinations. Now, I was using 3 of these 5 superfoods separately. And I spend a lot of money on that because for me, it's really worthwhile. But what I found was that the 3 of them individually were nowhere near as powerful as the 5 of them put together. So let's just take a look at this drink. Is called Elite. And it is an extremely powerful, powerful, powerful combination. And this is what you want to get. This is why for years people paid me lots of money in order to shortcut their path. Because when you go to these big health stores and you see row after row after row after row of supplements and superfoods, it's like, where do I start? Well, the devil's in the details, and this is what I've been doing for 31 years. Can you see the screen, Tyson?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Elite, 5 superfoods for deeper sleep, increased energy, improved mental focus, better mood, radiation protection, sharp eyesight, painless joints, and more. Now, anybody that wants, you can just write down the URL for this, or you can contact Tyson or I, and we can send you this page. This is a video that I did about it. Now, I started using this because it was introduced by this skin technology company. And I thought, okay, why not? I can get 5 superfoods for the price of 1. So I started using it, and I was so surprised. I thought, it's not doing me any harm, but it's not doing me any good. After 3 months, I ran out. My shoulder that I had dislocated when I had fractured my jaw started aching again. My knee started aching. I felt this like black mood come down over me. I didn't handle stress as well, and I didn't sleep as well. So this little one shows how it actually works. This video here is with Dr. Ross Anderson, and it's like talking about what it can do for electromagnetic radiation exposure, which we are all exposed to. We have more than 1 quintillion times electromagnetic radiation than we did 10 years ago. I mean, that's big. That's a big thing. Well, athletes, their recovery time is so immediate and so fast because it cuts down on the lactic acid, and it also lowers your inflammation. And inflammation is one of the roots of illness. So it's a very interesting little video about this elite athlete talking about his experience. And then this is something that I find really interesting. I wasn't able to post on this page the actual story, the actual interview where I interviewed this mother. But her daughter was diagnosed with acute anxiety, with separation anxiety, depression, and social disorder. And she was in such a state as a young girl that if her mother left the room, she thought she was going to die, and she would go into total panic. And she turned her health around completely. But at the age of 7, they wanted to put her on Prozac. And the mom said, no, she's too young for that. By age 10, the doctor said, look, if your daughter was diabetic and needed insulin, would you give her insulin? And she said yes. And then the doctor said, well, this is the same thing. So it was absolutely fascinating that they put her on Prozac. By the time she was 14, she was too big and the dosage of Prozac was too high. They changed it. She had an allergic reaction. She was at the point where she wanted to die. She said, Mom, I'm just a hassle for you. They gave her another medication which would cause these terrible reactions, including mini comas. And her parents had to leave one night for 3 hours. They locked the doors, the sliding doors, and they had the dogs in there. And they said, are you going to be okay, honey? She said, yeah, I'll be okay. And they left. They came back 3 hours later. The dogs were barking. They were banging on the door. Nobody answered. And they had a wall separating the 2 parts of the house. And the aunt lived in the first part. They went running in. The mother went running in. She tore down the wall with her bare hands because she thought, oh my God, she was just waiting for us to go and she's committed suicide. And by the way, suicide is rampant among our children. So we really need to think seriously about superfoods. So what happened was that she was in a coma. She was able to wake up and she didn't hear a thing. She hadn't heard a thing. The next day, her mom discovered this elite. She started giving her the elite, and within 1 week, she went in to wake her up for breakfast, and her daughter was smiling. It was the first time she'd seen her smile since she was 7. Imagine that. And she said, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible. Are you okay, dear? And she said, yeah, I'm fine. I don't want to get up my hopes or anything, but this weight that I've had on my chest for as long as I can remember is gone. I think this stuff is working. The next day she took the box to the doctor, and the doctor said, there's nothing in here that's going to harm her. I'm going to take her off this medication cold turkey because the side effects are as bad as going off cold turkey. Watch her carefully. Give her the elite. She did, and this girl has completely recovered. She's getting her driver's license. She's doing everything. You can watch about that story there. Menopause is another big thing because our hormones go all out of whack and so on. This incredibly helps your hormones come into balance, but it's not hormones. And you can also purchase it risk-free. But then if you look at this, these are just some of the benefits. Okay, reduced wrinkles and dryness of skin, decreases fatigue, improves skin moisture and elasticity, promotes sleep, boosts the immune system, reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. It helps with collagen, muscle, joint, and bone health. And it's got super antioxidants and amino acids. It promotes collagen, brain function, protects against telomere shortening, and improves your concentration. So it comes in a little packet like that. Now, I find it a little bit too sweet. So I mix it with another drink that we're going to talk about. And sometimes I'll use ginger and turmeric, which is another superfood. Both ginger and turmeric are. So let's take a little peek at the 5 superfoods. Astaxanthin. Some of you may or may not have heard about this, but if you fly a lot, if you fly during the day, you're getting a lot more radiation than if you fly at night. Well, the astaxanthin is a marine algae that starts out green, but it turns red. It also protects you against sunburn, and it's got a tiny enough molecule to go through the blood-brain barrier, which is fabulous because it's like a little sponge. It soaks up all the radiation and the heavy metals, and it pulls that out of your body through your elimination system. It's 85 times more effective than vitamin C, 54 times more effective than vitamin E, and 14 times more effective than beta carotene at scavenging all those little free radicals in your body. And this is really amazing as to what it can actually do, because it also goes through the blood-retina barrier for your eyes. So it improves your eyesight incredibly. And it reduces inflammation throughout your body. And that, again, is one of the root causes, one of the root things that's happening to us. Ashwagandha is probably one of the things that really influenced this girl because it's a mood food, and it's a very powerful one. It's called Indian ginseng or winter cherry or Withania somifera, but it's so powerful in slowing the aging process and really fighting against oxidative stress and cell death and mutation, which is happening in cancer when the cells start proliferating really quickly. And it lowers your cortisol levels, those stress levels. And what it's doing is it's promoting sleep, a deep sleep. And that's the thing I noticed when I ran out. I was using ashwagandha before. I was using astaxanthin, and I was using aloe, one of the other superfoods that we're going to look at. But the interesting thing was they didn't work in the same way as when I included Elite. I was able to sleep this deep, restful sleep. I could really feel a sense of relaxation throughout my body and like a sense of well-being growing inside of me. So it really helps to fight cancer, lung cancers, breast cancer, colon cancers, and it stabilizes your blood sugars for diabetics. And this particular product is very safe for diabetics. In fact, all the ones we're going to look at. It lowers your blood pressure. And Alzheimer's, the leading cause of death right now with women, happens to be neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and all that kind of stuff. It's got L-lysine in it. Now, L-lysine has a bunch of benefits. It's an essential amino acid, which is a building block for the proteins in your body. But what's so interesting is you cannot get it from your foods, or you cannot make it in your body. You need to get it from your foods. But again, we get back to the depletion of our foods. So we're not really able to get it. There's meat, fish, eggs, dairy, avocado, nuts. But we know that meat is laced with antibiotics and hormones. Unless we're getting free range, grass-fed, and so on. Fish, that's another big problem. The little fish are okay. The wild salmon, like krill, anchovies, sardines, because they don't have time. Their life cycle is too short to get all those BCBs and so on. Eggs, we want to get farm eggs that are organic and free range. Dairy, the lactic acid in dairy causes a lot of problems with people. Avocado is a super food you want to include in your diet. It is a healthy fat. And the same thing with nuts. But look at this. It treats cold sores, reduces anxiety, increases your serotonin level, which is your feel-good hormone. It acts as antiviral, so it helps outbreaks like herpes and shingles. It increases your calcium absorption, and it helps fight against acne. It promotes hair growth. So if you're losing your hair and you can see your scalp through it, we've got tons of things that can help you with that. And this is one of them. So it's producing other proteins like enzymes, antibodies, hormones, and so on. And it's converting fatty acids to energy. So that's helping you lose weight over time. And it's lowering the bad cholesterol levels. It's relieving migraine and other types of pains and inflammation. So this is a key all the way through. We're reducing inflammation. When it's combined with vitamin C, it can help your heart health. Well, let's look at a source of vitamin C. This is used in Ayurvedic medicine forever. It's called amla. So it's an Indian gooseberry. And it is one of the highest forms of vitamin C on the planet. So it is very bitter. And you may have heard about, if you're interested in superfoods and so on, how strong bitters are for you. But again, it's promoting eyesight. It's helping hair growth. It's treating menstrual cramps. It's good for fever, for heart muscles. It's helping you absorb calcium again, aiding in your digestion. Again, it's reducing that blood sugar in diabetics. And it's eliminating free radicals associated with aging. All of these are improving your immune system, and it's increasing your urination so that you're eliminating more of those unwanted toxins. And then we have the health benefits of aloe. So aloe, most people know for sunburns and so on, but you can take an aloe, fillet it, and just take the gel out of it and put it in your smoothie. But it is something that in ancient times has been used for extraction purposes and pulling things out. And this is another thing that we're going to talk about briefly. But the health benefits of aloe, again, it's detoxifying the body, it's hydrating the skin, it's lowering that high cholesterol, it's supporting the immune system, it's stabilizing the blood sugar, it soothes arthritic pain, and it goes on and on and on. Reducing high blood pressure, kidney stones, strengthening the gums and promoting healthy teeth, healing the intestine and the digestive tract, and preventing and treating candida. Your cardiovascular health. There's a common thread with these 5 that have been put together in Elite, which is truly amazing for your body. And this is something that I can't even begin to express how much difference it will make to your body when you actually start putting in superfoods. And you know, it's so fascinating because a lot of people right now, I'm going to share this screen again. I just want to show you something. Well, before I share it, I'm going to show you what this superfood drink looks like. It comes in a little packet like this. It's liquid. You shake up the packet, you snip it off, and you could just drink it straight out of the packet. Now, I mix this with my Elite the powdered drink that I put into a liter of water. And it comes in a big box like this huge, heavy, heavy duty box that has all these little packets in it that you can use. And it is called MOA. And MOA means mother of all. And I just want to take a peek at this for a sec. But this is interesting because it seems to me that I was involved with some micro lending. And this is where people in very poor countries and so on, they get a loan, small business loan, and they're able to thrive. And they get a little group of people and they each pay back the loan and so on. It's micro lending. It's a very interesting way to stabilize wealth. Well, they found that when they did the micro loans to the fathers, it didn't trickle down to the family. But to the mothers, the kids got the clothes, the huts got cleaner, everything happened for the better. And it seems that the consciousness-wise, in terms of nurturing, in terms of health, women seem to be more with it. And also, in terms of electromagnetic radiation and the effects on the health, women seem to be more aware of it intuitively in their bodies. And so it's interesting because this growing dietary supplement market, $30 billion a year in the US alone. And from 2007 through to 2010, 49% of the adults reported using a dietary supplement within the past 30 days. The majority of the consumers are females 40 plus years of age. And that's pretty darn interesting because consumers are taking these supplements, which are combinations of superfoods, and not all supplements are created equal. That's why I've done so much research over the years to find the best of the best of the best for my clients. But why would you take them? To improve and maintain overall health. That's pretty simple. To improve and maintain bone health. Let's face it, osteoporosis, after we've gone through menopause, it just, we start losing our bone strength. Supplement their diet. And younger people primarily use dietary supplements to enhance the immune function or increase their energy. And there's product here that is better than any of those Gatorades or any of those energy drinks and stuff like that. And it's super healthy. So, this is just the beginning. And I'd like to look at some of the product development philosophy behind this little MOA drink. And it's always going through a continual process. It's the cleanest foods I've ever seen. And this MOA, Mother of Earth, it's formulated with powerful antioxidant-rich, nutrient-dense, and low-glycemic superfoods and superfruits that offer an exceptional health benefit. And it's fascinating because there are six medicinal mushrooms in this. And they developed their own way of cultivating these medicinal mushrooms. It's supporting your cardiovascular health. It's increasing the bioavailability of it. So this bioperine, okay, when you're looking at peppers, if you take turmeric and you mix it with onion or black pepper, you're increasing the bioavailability of that turmeric. Well, it's the same thing with this. And when you look at this, okay, let's just take a peek at some of these mushrooms. The lion's mane mushroom is for cognitive mood and cardiovascular support. Aragaris is for immune support. And that's just two of the mushrooms that are in there. The complex of the mushrooms are phenomenal. Absolute superfoods that are going to do incredible things for your health. And this bergamot is another one that is truly amazing for your cardiovascular and your metabolic wellness. Well, any type of liquid supplement, it has to have some kind of preservative in it. And the woman who is the formulator for these particular products, this MOA, and some of the others that we're going to be talking about coming up, she actually said, no, we don't want to have any bad in there. It has to be all good. So they developed their own preservative system that is based on fermented foods. So what's actually happening is that you are getting probiotics, and it's award-winning, and it's patent pended. It's a natural preservative. So everything in here is good for you, and it's low glycemic. It took them 18 months to be able to find the right combinations, and it's rigorously tested. And the interesting thing was the FDA didn't think that they could do it. So they randomly put toxins in the supply chain. They tested them in-house. They found every toxin and then some. The FDA was so impressed, it passed with flying colors. And this is being sold all over the world. When they grow their mushrooms, they're growing them on purple corn. Because it turns out that doing it this way, this deeply pigmented purple corn, which is like a super grain, it makes those mushrooms more powerful. These are all little details that most people would never think of. And this preservative is an award-winning preservative. There's so many companies that are looking to have that preservative. And it blows my mind. So if somebody is looking at facing a situation where you might have, for instance, bone health issues and schizophrenia, so many depression, so many other mental health issues are caused by a lack of vitamin D in the body. And it's vitamin D3 that you're wanting to get. And it's interesting because there's a specific combination for bone health that has high doses of vitamin D3. It has calcium and magnesium in the form that the body can use. So your body is able to absorb it, not like the cheap calcium that you find in the market, which just causes bone spurs and so on, and it's not even absorbable by the body. And it also has K2 from another fermented food called natto, which the Japanese use. When you start combining these things, it's truly amazing. And a couple of medicinal mushrooms, which do a real number on you too. Probably the most important thing of all is cleaning your body. And in terms of that, we look at something like Restorix. And Restorix has zeolite in it. It has activated charcoal, and it's dark colored. So it's dark colored right there. And that is something that we probably, again, it's the combination that makes it so incredibly powerful. And I'm just going to show you briefly the side of the box. It has everything in it that's there. And I'll just go through it very quickly, and then we'll wrap up. And this is just a tip of the iceberg of the superfoods that are available to you now. So it has zeolite, chlorella, chia seeds. Chia seeds used to be more valuable than gold. It has a chlorophyll in it that is really, really good, an activated charcoal, an organic ginger root, an organic spirulina. And the thing is, when you're including something like this in your diet, you're going to be cleaning out those toxins. The elite is going to clean out those toxins. The MOA is going to clean out those toxins, and it's going to fill you up with really good stuff. When you start doing that, you can have a great deal of fun because you feel so much better. Your consciousness is expanded. You're coming from a place of overflow versus a place of depletion. So you're able to give to others. And we're going to be doing a series, Tyson and I, where we're going to be covering healthy weight loss, where the weight actually stays off. We're going to be covering so many different aspects of health that are all available to you. And Tyson and I are here not only to help you have that experience, but to help you to be able to finance the investment of using superfoods in your diet and losing the weight and getting back to regaining your optimal health. So it's possible, like we started out at the very beginning, it's possible to help others. And it's possible to have a side income doing it, which can be rewarding. We can all use an extra bit of money every month. And in some cases, it can actually be a substantial income that will allow you to retire your spouse and have a kind of a life that you might not even have imagined possible. So Tyson, we've gone over a little bit, I'd say. Is there anything you'd like to add or say or anything?
Well, thank you ever so much, Alison. I mean, that's overwhelming, a lot of information, very exciting. You covered some of the main points that I was hoping you would touch on, and that is, you know, that there's many ways in which you could be approaching why you want to use superfoods or include superfoods in your diet. And so let's just maybe run over them again. You know, one is if you have electromagnetic sensitivity, this will help boost your immune system, allow you to get out of your house, participate in social events without being overwhelmed by electromagnetic static interference, which really is draining and exhausting. And Alison, you've had firsthand experience in this, and really, truly, this did change your life in this regard. Is that not true?
Yeah, you see that wall in the back? That's copper taffeta material. So I shielded my whole wall. I use a lot of shungite, a lot of different things. I tried everything. I bought a beamer machine for $6,400. I did everything I could to try to improve that situation. And it was actually this little Elite drink. But Elite is doing so much more than that. And that wasn't even, that's an off-label benefit. Okay, that wasn't even something they were expecting. But reducing inflammation, if you're an athlete, if you're working out, all that type of thing. If you want to get really good immune support and so on, the MOA is something that's very, very important. Restorix, and I mean the list goes on. We haven't even hardly tapped in to what's there. But I wanted to leave a little bit of time. If anybody had any questions or anything like that, type it in to the chat box. If there's any questions that anybody has to add to it and stuff like that. There's also ubiquinol, coenzyme Q10, and what that can do for the mitochondria, for the energy of every cell of your body. And these are other ones. There's just so much that we don't have time to cover for it. But, you know, I see you, Mona and Monica and Tatiana and others. I don't know if anybody has any questions that you'd like to ask. There's also some Facebook groups. There's a Facebook group just specifically for the elite where people are sharing their own experiences. Again, we're not saying that it heals, treats, or cures anything. It's astounding when you read what people are saying. So if you are friends on Facebook, ask to add you. There's a little keyword search. So you could search for depression, arthritis, you know, any of these things, anything that you might be experiencing, because if you are experiencing any health challenges or you know anybody that is, well, thank you, Monica. Monica says that she liked the description. What about for children? Yes, for example, ubiquinol, coenzyme Q10, and so on, that can be used by children. Another thing that there's an umbrella company here that is really responsible for 7 different brands of healthy, non-toxic living solutions, including pure water. And this little thing here, you could actually pee into it and you could drink it if you were stuck in the desert. You could take it into the Yangtze River, fill it up. The filter is actually in the bottle. It's doing more than any other water filter I've ever seen. Now, one of the things that this Nutrify line, which is part of where the MOA is and the Restorix is and so on, this is so light it just doesn't even show up. There we go. But these particular supplements, and the doctor that was getting everybody off of supplements, he puts absolutely everybody on these 2, which are going to give you all of your vitamins from plant-based and your minerals that your body could need. So it's a really good foundation for that. And they are coming out with a children's line. specifically designed for children. And there was a man, when I did a summit about the electromagnetic radiation when it happened to me. At first, I thought it was just BS. I thought it was a psychosomatic thing. But when it happened to me, I realized, oh my God, this is real. I started talking and reading every single book I could, like Overpowered, Zapped, all these different books. And then I interviewed the authors, microwave weapons, experts, everybody that I could find. And I really learned how important it is to detox your body and build your immune system. And children, Dr. Samuel Milham, who's an epidemiologist, and what he did was he took all the death certificates from 1936 in America and then from 1957. And during that period of time, they got electrification. And the thing that surprised him the most was suicide. It spiked once they got electrification because there's dirty electricity. And we don't even know about that. I mean, we just know so little. We don't see, feel, or sense necessarily, can't taste, can't smell it, this electromagnetic radiation that's bombarding us. Well, this is really affecting our kids because it's in the schools, and they come home, there's Wi-Fi, they're sleeping on their little cell phones. Now we have spikes in brain cancer, glioblastoma, one of the worst brain cancers. And I mean, what I do as a longevity rescuer is polish every facet of the diamond so you could sparkle and shine. So that's a lot of the work that Tyson does with energy healing, with clearing a lot of the trapped emotions and the static that you have going on within you, your communication with other people, your exercise, your food, your diet, your superfoods, the whole 9 yards. And yet we have this whole thing that we don't realize. We have no idea the damage that it's doing to our children. And I made on my YouTube channel, I put like trailers from all of these 18 experts that I interviewed. And we are looking at the population suffering because we're having breaks in the DNA. And so it's very important. So what's the youngest age of products that people can take? So, you know, we're looking at here a comment where my great-granddaughter has stage 4 brain cancer at 11 months old. This is very, very scary. So something like Restorex is something that she could add, you know, have a little half a glass and drink that to start pulling out the stuff. With Elite, for instance, you wouldn't really want to take it if you're under 15 years of age. Just, the company says that to be on the safe side and so on. And for nursing moms and stuff like that, there are other concerns. But that's another conversation that we could have. But the first thing I would do is I would reduce all of the electromagnetic radiation in her house. I'd feed her real foods, no fast foods, no, none of that stuff. And I'd start getting the very best foods into her body. And certainly contact Tyson, contact me. We'll work with the experts in the company. We'll talk to some of the founders, because it's interesting that this company, what they did was they walked away from a large company, a large network marketing company. They walked away because they were going to do something in the field that was going to harm people. And these guys were earning 8-figure incomes. And they went, you know what? Money is not worth it if I can't look at myself in the mirror. And that's the truth. People used to pay me a lot for my health coaching. Now I give it to them for free and I can help them get wealthy and healthy. I mean, it's all about integrity and tapping into your own well-being. So we really need to take care of each other. We need to help our children. And this situation with a stage 4 brain cancer at 11 months of age, that's a very scary time. And everything can be turned around though. which is fascinating. I don't know if you've ever read the book called Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjati, but what she did was she had stage 4 cancer all the way through her system. And she went into a coma. She went into the hospital bed and she flatlined. And she, at the same time, was able to be aware of her brother packing to come and see her for her deathbed, aware of the doctor talking in the hallway saying, call the family, aware of the nurse looking at her watch thinking what she was going to make for dinner for her kids, everything all at once. And she walked into the light. And the interesting thing was her father met her and her friend who had committed suicide met her. So this BS about committing suicide, you go to purgatory or whatever, I don't know, is a fallacy. And she was told, you have to go back. You have to help your husband. She came back, didn't want to, but she came back into her body. And lo and behold, within 4 days, she went from flatline dead to perfectly healthy. And she wrote a book about it. And it's pretty fascinating. Now, just to read some more, okay? So she had 2 years of chemo, and it is removed now. I'm looking for foods to clean her body. Well, by all means, Mona, let's have a conversation. Start with yourself. Start getting yourself super duper healthy. And then let's look at what we can do for her, because there's so much that can be done. I misunderstood because I thought she was diagnosed at 11 months old. Okay, so she's gone through 2 years of chemo. I don't know how old she is now, but by all means, let's have a conversation and look at what we can do. So she's 3 now. Well, that is wonderful. I'm so glad that they were able to remove the cancer and getting her brain function really good. This is going to be really important.
Yeah, the superfoods will really help with the chemotherapy and reversing any negative influences from that, rebuilding the body and getting it back to a healthy homeostasis. So it's really important. It's an important stage in which to think about superfoods.
I think it's always important, Tyson. There's never a time. If I'd known about superfoods when I was younger, I could have done so much more to help so many more people. And it just breaks my heart. And some of the superfoods are really simple things. Just going out and picking dandelions, nettles, wild nettles. I mean, there's so many things that we can do. So it's also had an impact on her hearing. And that's another interesting thing, because when you start putting your body back into homeostasis and so on, things start working. I remember an 80-year-old doctor talking to me about superfoods, and he was talking to a group of us, and he was 80, and he was saying about how superfoods can really enhance your libido. And somebody looked at him because he was in his 80s, and it was kind of like, oh yeah? I mean, you're concerned about your libido? And he looked and he smiled and he said, when it works, when your body works, everything works. It just made me laugh. So everything can work. And just know that.
Everything's supposed to work. So yeah. Why not help it?
It's really what nature intended for us. And what we do is it's like we have a barrel full of water and a ball. And we take that ball and we push it down and we push it down and we push it down with our lifestyle choices. And then all of a sudden, the ball wants to bounce back up. That's the body going into homeostasis. That's what nature wants. So if we can get away from the pharmaceuticals, and I mean, probably everybody here listening to this, whether you're watching the replay or watching us live, probably everybody knows about the Oxycontin and the phenobarbital issue and the people that are dying like flies all over the place, because a lot of people who are perfectly straight people that weren't into the drug scene at all, they're given these prescriptions for pain. And now these companies are being sued. There's class action lawsuits like crazy for the makers of these Oxycontin painkillers. But they're highly addictive. And there are other ways to deal with pain. So remember, I said I hadn't had anything in my medicine cabinet since the year 2000. And yet I've had all these accidents with fractured shoulders that they thought couldn't heal, with fractured, dislocated jaws, with a recent car accident that damaged the soft tissue of my back and neck. And all of that can be completely rectified with superfoods, with energy healing, with the way that you look at life, with your attitude, with your mind flex instead of mindset, and all that type of stuff. So you'll have tons of support. Again, it can be a very, very enjoyable career. It's so much fun when you help others. It's so much fun when you learn how to healthily lose that belly fat and so on, which is impinging your health more than obesity. Obesity throughout the body is a big, big health problem. But when you have that extra layer of belly fat, that's even worse. And we can learn all about all those things. So I really, really, for my part, want to thank you big time for attending today. I've got to say that Tyson is somebody who impresses me incredibly. When he was thinking of working with me, he came to visit me. He and his wife came to visit me, and they sat down with me and we spent time together. And I've been so impressed with his journey to optimal health and what he's doing for himself and stuff like that. So we're here for you.
Yeah, this is really important. Do the research, look into the background. I'm going to give you some links about how you can do that. Shop around, look around, and come back with your questions. We take this very seriously. Neither Alison nor myself promote anything that we aren't fully alive and aligned with. This is our life. This is our passion. And we hope that it will be the same for you. So why not be healthy, wealthy, and wise? Why not join us on this journey? If this resonates with you, then take a look at the links and explore. And we'll be getting back to you and have a one-to-one conversation and track you down and make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. So there.
I used to club people over their head, drag them to my cave, and force feed them superfoods. Now I've realized over time that it is an individual decision. You know, it's up to each and every one of you. Do you want vibrant health? Do you want to make that a priority? Do you want to wear your designer clothes on the inside? It is all about you.
It is all about you. Yeah. So thank you, Alison. It was wonderful. This is the beginning of a number of shows that we're going to be doing around this health and wealth and how to help you get from where you are to where you want to be and be healthy and bring that health to your family, to your loved ones, and even to your clients. So reach out, contact us, and let's work together. So there you are. That's it. So any last words you'd like to leave with everybody, Alison?
Much love, and have hope. Know that you can overcome whatever challenges may be facing you now. There are solutions for everything.
All right, everybody. Bye for now. We're going to call this a wrap, and you know how to get hold of us. Bye for now.